friends. Welcome to Sky House Herbs Podcast. I'm Ashley Ellenvoss, a clinical herbalist, and in this space, I share my knowledge and experience with plant medicine to help you on your own journey of healing and transformation. Join me in exploring the ancient wisdom of plant spirit medicine and how it can be used to heal the body, mind, and spirit. We'll talk to experts in the field and share stories from people who've been transformed by powerful plant allies. New episodes are released each Monday, so please subscribe. And now, let's explore this mystical world of plant medicine together. Hey everyone, welcome in today. I am going to share with you some of my favorite top herbs to travel with. And so I have my little herbal goodie bag here, and I'm going to show you what you can fit into a small bag like this to bring with you when you travel so that you have probably most of the herbs you will need right on hand. Before I dive into today's content, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. It's just a click away. It helps other people to find my work, and it helps me know that people are watching and interested in this content. So thank you in advance for subscribing. And also, if you find this video to be helpful, share it with a friend. Maybe they will be able to find these herbs and pack them and bring them on their next trip. So today's herbs, I'm going to start with an herb that I would suggest that you begin taking before you travel. This is a wonderful blend by Honey Gardens. And I've done this weird thing with my camera today where it's not mirrored. So I'm like a little disoriented because I'm used to everything being mirrored, but I realized that when it's mirrored, then you can't read the label. So I have unmirrored it to make you more comfortable and to make myself less comfortable, which I think is a good thing. Get outside my comfort zone. So this is called elderberry and honey. It's an immune syrup. It's made with apple cider vinegar, honey, and elderberries. Elderberries have been shown to boost immunity. They're high in vitamin C. They're high in a bunch of antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compounds. And so I love this because it combines the medicine of honey, which is also immune supportive, and apple cider vinegar, which is digestive and supportive for your gut health. So it's kind of like a booster for all things health. And so I would recommend taking this maybe about a week before you travel, and take a teaspoon in the morning and a teaspoon in the evening. If you have small children over the age of 2, you can give them about a half a teaspoon in the morning and in the evening. So that is my first blend that I recommend, is elderberry syrup. Now, the next ones I have are in no particular order. They're just whatever I'm pulling out of my bag. And isn't this a great bag? It's it says weed bag. It's all of these weeds like creeping Charlie, poison ivy, crabgrass, dandelion. I love myself some creeping Charlie and dandelion. Not so much the poison ivy. I have respect for it, but anyway, I know some of you are going to ask me where I got this bag, and I don't remember. I picked it up somewhere, but if I can find the tag, I'll put a link in because it's really fun to carry my weeds in my weed bag. All right. So the second one I have is called Kick-Ass Sinus. And this is a blend by a company that I use a lot of their products. They're called Wish Garden Herbs. And I actually met with one of the representatives at the Midwest Women's Herbal Conference. So that was really neat. And she was lovely. So this one is an upper respiratory blend, and it's nice because it's in a pump, which is really easy to take. And they have small bottles. So this would be a really good one if you start to notice the drip in the back of your throat. If you're going to be flying, it's really nice to have a decongestant, something that's going to stop inflammation and congestion in the sinuses. So this Kick-Ass Sinus has a lot of antibacterial herbs in it. I'll tell you what it has in it if I can read this. It has elderflower, sage leaf, yerba santa, horseradish root, baptisia root, golden seal, garlic, and goldenrod, and red root, one of my favorites. I love red root. So this whole blend is going to work together to support clearing the sinuses, drying them up, allowing you to travel comfortably, and instructions are on the back. So this is a must-have, Kick-Ass Sinus. Whoop. Can you read it? There it is. Okay. What else is in my goodie bag? Let's take a look. Oh, this is a good one. This is box, and this is the kids. It's Rescue Remedy. And I know if I take it close, it will focus. It usually likes to focus. There we go. So it's called Rescue Remedy. This one is in glycerin. It's for kids, but it can be used for anyone. Even animals can benefit from this. I like to bring this with me because it is a very gentle flower essence for trauma, upset, meltdowns. That can happen to adults. As much as kids, you miss the flight, you're running through the airport, you're completely losing your mind. Who knows? Anything can happen. But I love to have Rescue Remedy because you just take 3 drops on the tongue, and I swear it works. It just calms you down. And I remember there was a cat that was trapped under the engine part of my neighbor's car. And so I went over and I gave the cat a few drops of Rescue Remedy, and it just like crawled out, and it just was totally like chill. And my neighbor was like, "What did you give it?" I was like, "Rescue Remedy." Because it's like you hear about these things. Oh yeah, give it to pets. But it actually does work. And I've used it on my dogs as well. And definitely have used it on myself and kids. So this is a wonderful must have. Travel with it. You never know when you might need it. Another one is oregano, and these are capsules. So these are oil capsules. They're very strong, but I like to travel with these because in case I do get sick and I don't want it to turn into a sinus infection, especially if you have a lot of mucus or like a really deep cough and you feel like it's kind of like the cold is settling in, this will kick it in a few days. So, I mean, if you're traveling for a weekend, you might not you might still have a cold on the way home. But if you're going to be gone for a while, and if you think you might be getting sick, or, this is a good one to have. Also, if you get any sort of parasite or like sickness from traveling and eating food or drinking water in another country, then having these on hand can again just help kind of like think of them as a herbal antibiotic. That's kind of how I think about them. So these are great to have on hand. And I'll try to include links to as many of these as I can in the descriptions below. What else is in my goodie bag? Oh, yarrow. So don't leave home without a little bit of yarrow. Now, this one isn't a tincture. So this is just a tincture I made from herbs in my garden. You could also bring yarrow as a salve, which is like in an oil based. I have a salve I made with some yarrow in it here. This is a little too big of a container, but I could always like scoop this out and put it into a smaller container. But I always like to have some kind of yarrow on hand for cuts, scrapes, any sort of injury to the skin where there might be infection. You really want to get rid of it fast. Like you really don't want to be traveling and getting infected wounds, especially if you're camping, hiking, you're walking, you get blisters. Yarrow is going to really speed up the healing process of your skin. Yarrow is also good as a diaphoretic. So if you start to feel like you're getting a fever coming on and you want to burn that fever through your body quickly, yarrow is very helpful with that. It's also a circulatory tonic for your blood. It's also an emmenagogue, so you don't take it if you're pregnant, but if you're trying to bring your menses on, like, you're going on a romantic trip and you're like, I want to get my period sooner, you could take something like an emmenagogue like yarrow to help bring your period on. So that yarrow is one that I like to travel with because it has so many different uses. The next one is, this one, Serious Relaxer. So this is also by Wish Gardens. And it's called Serious Relaxer. And this one's really nice because when you travel, sometimes you might have difficulty sleeping. I know sometimes my children, the first night in a new place, they'll just, they're like, they're a little creeped out, right? Like they don't know the environment. So this blend has wood betony, wild lettuce, which is really good also for nightmares or for when kids get sort of stuck on one scary thought and they're like, there is a monster or the house is going to burn down. Like if they have one obsessive thought, wild lettuce is really good at helping to relax and release that. Let's see. It has valerian root, black cohosh, passion flower, skullcap, and ginger root. So if at any time, you're feeling stressed, even if it's not sleep, serious relaxer can be good. Like let's say you're about to go hike a big trail. It's not going to put you it's not going to make you go to sleep, but it's going to relax your central nervous system and help you drop in to a more grounded, sane state of mind. So we've got that, buddy. essential oils. Now, I typically don't travel with a lot of essential oils. I do have one that I always travel with, and this is called Purification. Now, some of you might be like, "Uh-oh, is that Young Living? Is she a Young Living rep? Is she gonna try to sell me, a bunch of 60 to $150 bottles of essential oil?" No. I'm not. I don't love multi-level marketing things. However, I did work for a naturopath. She sold Young Living in her office, and I got really stuck on this one. So I don't buy Young Living products, I don't sell them, but I do like this particular one. And you can actually buy a knockoff. So you can Google search Young Living Purification replicas or knockoffs, and you can find other ones that are less expensive. What I like about this is that this particular blend does a lot of different things. One thing that it does is it can be a bug repellent. So it has citronella in it, it has lavender, rosemary, Pogon, I don't even know it. Oh, lemongrass oil, tea tree, and lavender. So it kind of has so many different things. So if you have a burn, lavender is really good for burns. Now, I wouldn't use it for like a very, very severe burn, but if you just like got oil splatter, I would put some purification on it. I also will use this on my hands if I don't have hand sanitizer, or I'll put a little bit of it on a napkin and sanitize my area on an airplane. So it's very, very antiseptic, cleansing, bug repellent. It smells like citronella. So, it's not like a perfume. It's not going to smell great, but it's definitely going to disinfect. And then, it's not terrible smelling. It's not like bleach cloths, which I think smell way worse than this. But this is a really nice blend to travel with because it has so many uses. Echinacea and red root. I talked about this in my immunity video, and this is a blend that I often use when I get sick. So if I start to feel a tickle in my throat, the beginning signs of a cold, then I will dose myself like a lot. So this is actually a 2-ounce bottle or 60 milliliters, and I'll carry a big bottle because I want to finish this bottle before, during that time period when I'm starting to feel sick. So I'll take this maybe 6, 7 times a day to really keep my immune system active, to try to combat and get rid of the cold so that I don't get sick during my vacation. Who wants to get sick during their vacation? I don't. All right. Cooling calendula salve. This is made by a friend of mine who has a beautiful garden and herb company in Wisconsin called 4 Elements Herbal. This is her cooling calendula salve. This is wonderful for any sort of rash, heat, irritation on the skin. It's just beautiful. It's this beautiful golden color. And we use it, gosh, again, you can use it for cuts and scrapes, not deep wounds, but like more superficial scratches, or like you've been playing with your friend's cat, and you're a little allergic and your arms are all itchy. If you're out harvesting nettles and you get a little sting, it's just going to cool and soothe. It's also good for diaper rashes. If you are in the heat and your thighs are really irritated from rubbing, this is really good. So I like to have some kind of cooling salve to heal anything that's hot and irritated in my arsenal of herbs. Oop, I've got one last herb, and this is Propolis. Propolis is made from bees. It's like a bee byproduct that is in the hives, and it's very thick. It stains. I've stained many shirts and backpacks from this spilling or dripping, but it's a really nice one for topical use and internal. It's one of my favorites for sore throat. Like echinacea and red root, that blend I showed you before, is good. It's going to really boost your immune system, but this is going to soothe your throat and pretty much kill off. It's like pretty antibacterial, and that's why it's also very good for your skin. So if you have a deep wound, or if you're hiking, camping, and you need something that's going to stop bleeding and start healing that wound and really prevent infection, this will create almost like a barrier, like a second skin coating. It's very sticky, very resinous. So it will coat the throat, it'll coat the skin, it will stain it this dark color. So know that that's going to happen too. But it's really, there's no medicine. It's very, very strong. So I like having my strong medicines with me. And then the only thing I don't have in here, because I think I used it all up, is peppermint tea bags. And that's really nice to have if you have any sort of digestive upset. You can just pull out a few bags of peppermint tea on the airplane and, ask for a cup of hot water when you get to your hotel or your Airbnb. Having a few bags of tea, I like to have a peppermint always, but you could also throw a few bags of chamomile or throat coat, right? But I would add some in, and I'm going to replenish mine before I go on my next trip, which is this weekend. So that is what I have for you all. I'd love to hear from you. What do you pack with you when you travel? What are your must-have herbs? What are your must-have formulas? And and do you have any stories like my rescue remedy story? Anytime that you've been sick and really and use herbs. Well, I actually have one more. I have one story. This is kind of a funny one. So I was in Hawaii on the Big Island. I was doing my teacher training, studying Kundalini yoga. This must have been, like 15, 17 years ago. And one of the women on the trip had a really bad head cold, and she was just really congested, and it was starting to settle into her lungs. And she was like, Ashley, do you have any herbs? And I was studying herbs. I was in herb school. And I go, yeah. And I had a bag of some of my herbs because I was studying herbs, and I was like, I had this elecampane and osha. So osha is a great mucus thinner, disinfectant, really good for mucus, catarrh, and elecampane is a really good lung remedy. So it really thins mucus and fluid in the lungs, strong expectorant. So I started dosing her, and I started giving her like droppers full of both. And she started feeling better, and then I kept dosing her, and then she started feeling worse. And then I remember we were all doing like some kundalini thing, like some breath of fire. She runs out of the dojo where we were doing our training, and she starts throwing up she starts like coughing so hard, and then she starts throwing up, and like we can all hear it because it's like, and I'm like, oh no, I've poisoned my friend. Like we're in the middle of the jungle in the Big Island, Hawaii, and oh no, oh no. She comes out smiling, and she was like, whatever that was, I just got it all out. And you know what? She was completely fine for the rest of the trip. And I was like, it was like one of those things where I was like, that was unexpected. And, maybe next time I won't dose as often. Like, I think I gave her 3 droppers full, and that was like her 3rd dose of that since like 5 a.m. And it was like around lunchtime. So I think like my herbal self now would have been like, Ashley, you probably could have just given her 1 dropper full of each, and like maybe just 3 or 4 times, and she would have slowly gotten better. But then again, another part of me was like, well, that was a quick way to get rid of that sickness. Like all the mucus, everything that was in her went out, and then she was like crystal good to go. So that was one of my traveling herb stories with osha and elecampane. So I'd love to hear your stories. And as always, if you have any ideas for content, things that you'd like me to talk about or share, I always love your ideas. So please put those in the comment box, and I'll be sure to read those and respond. So thank you so much. I will see you all next week. Bye.